What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Allegedly, and this is going to be a delayed 2025 wrap up. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all had an amazing new year. And yes, here comes Daisy to assist us. Just to let you know, before I go any further, this podcast does not assert guilt or innocence. We are not professionals, and I secure all of my information, like all of you can, on very public but reputable sources. So, again, welcome back to Allegedly, and thank you for joining us for this year-end wrap-up for 2025. All year long, we walked through cases that unfolded, some into the headlines, some underreported, and all the real people, just with all the consequences behind them. The biggest cases this year, to begin with, was the Epstein files and ongoing inquiries. And this, even years after the death of Jeffrey Epstein, it's still making sound waves. Because of the partial releases of the sealed documents, which brought renewed attention to the scope of allegations and networks that connected him. Now, this was really interesting because authorities had previously identified suspects. There was a lot going on. It was this, it was that, it was all, we've all been kind of glued to our seats, kind of looking up at what the whole Epstein file situation was going to give us. And it most certainly was giving. Well, much of this material comes from the civil litigations and redacted files. Its release has kept the case culturally and legally relevant throughout the year. Civil records have been partially unsealed or released, offering additional context but no new criminal charges. As we already know, all of these documents were redacted, which they were not supposed to be. No new federal indictments have resulted from this year's releases, and the focus remains largely on civil proceedings and public scrutiny rather than active cases. Big names unfortunately were mentioned, people that we thought that were or not or whatever. Just because they were photographed with Jeffrey Epstein doesn't mean that they were guilty. Now, case number 2 is one that I really followed closely, which was Gabriela Nicole Pras Rosario murder case, and this occurred in Ay Bonito, Puerto Rico. And in August 2025, a 16-year-old Gabriela Nicole Pras Rosario was stabbed to death in Ay Bonito, Puerto Rico, and the case grew a widespread attention. I was able to watch a couple of days of the case being seen in the court in Puerto Rico. It was interesting, to say the least. Authorities determined that the young woman charged in the case can be, in fact, prosecuted, and multiple individuals have been summoned to charge in connection with the murder. Defense and prosecution teams have actively litigating procedural questions, including evaluations of fitness and legal strategy. Now, this case completely remains active in the court proceedings with ongoing developments in prosecution status and legal filings. Currently, still, it is active and progressing through courts with no final verdict yet announced. Now, the other case that really hit home for me was Serenity Baker, the wrongful death litigation, which is currently going on right now. Regarding Serenity Baker. Now, do know for a fact that somebody has in fact been taken in custody and has been accused of said murder. Now, the civil case right now is against Evolve Technologies that continues through the courts as the year and begun. And ongoing civil litigation with KPD and amongst others are currently going on. Now, the next case is one that really has us by the edge of our seats. And with that being said, not only does it have us at the edge of our seats, but it's something that is currently active and ongoing. And that is the case of Celeste Rivas, also the tentatively accused David, who is the artist that is behind that. Now, this case drew major national headlines involving the death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, whose remains were found in the vehicle linked to singer David Anthony Burke, known as Dave 4VD. This case shocked many due to the age of the victim and the involvement of the public figure, which was widely reported in national media, along with every social media outlet. As David D4VD, whatever his name is, was extremely popular on this app amongst many others. No confirmed arrests have been publicly announced yet, and the investigation remains active with limited official detail available. Please remember that just because there isn't any information does not mean that they're not working on it. It's just information that cannot be released to the public. Now, this case is currently active and ongoing. So we expect to see some more of that information as we go on. Now, taken together, the most notorious cases of this year, whether involving civil cases, international prosecutions, wrongful death claims, and active criminal cases, highlight several recurring themes, which is long, lengthy timelines, multiple legal paths, public scrutiny, and media attention and transparency challenges. These aren't obviously isolated stories. They're systems in action and all the friction and complexity that it entails. Now, as I wrapped up the year, it's clearly the notoriety doesn't guarantee closure. Some cases move forward, some are still grinding through the courts, and others remain shrouded with investigation. And for every case we talk about publicly, there are countless others unfolding quietly, with victims and families and communities still waiting for answers. Now, our role in Allegedly isn't to speculate. As you already know, I really like to give you the facts as they stand publicly, without hindering if it's an active investigation or just simply not accusing the wrong person. Thank you for staying engaged, asking questions responsibly, which I completely appreciate, and supporting a deeper understanding of how justice really works, not just how it's portrayed in the headlines. Now, we do have a few cases that we're going to talk about in the next episode, and that is the first episode of January officially, of Allegedly. And boy, do we have some stuff already. So let's go ahead and talk about that. But before I go forward or go any further, please follow us right here, or you can also follow us on Spotify and YouTube, link in bio. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you all had an amazing New Year's Eve and you were safe, and other than that, have the day you deserve, all of you. Thanks for watching.